2021, 4 men got together to make a radio show that nobody asked for. This is the result.
Welcome to Broad Street Radio. I'm Michael Morris with my good friend, Jonathan Meanick. You know what I thought of the best name for you? Johnny Cash. I don't think anyone's
Johnny
ever
Cash.
used it.
You know what?
As a financial advisor, that'd be amazing.
That has a good ring to it. Yes. Yeah. I like it.
Also, one of my best pals, Kenny Perry with Climate Heating and Cooling. Kenny, how are you?
Good.
I don't have a good nickname for you. No, I do.
Kenny Powers.
We'll come
Kenny
up with
Frost.
Oh, hey.
Kenny Frost.
Kenny
That
Frost
sounds like an actor
mediocre.
in movies you can only watch on the internet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Boys, I thought since we have conversations off the air about these things, I thought we should bring them to the forefront because we've had a lot of people that own businesses in here that are trying to hire, right? In the last few weeks, we've talked about people that are trying to hire. I want to get your opinion on the outside of, do we have in America specifically a customer service issue?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's a customer service issue, if it's a entitlement issue, or I don't know what the actual.
We'll go into the entitlement part because I will tell you what we talked about before we started, and it kind of leads into this. And I want you to go into entitlement. Here in Columbus, Grove City, I don't care where you're watching this. Grove City is the greatest town ever. It's like the Hamptons. Yeah, it's like the Hamptons Midwest. But I'm on Facebook posting memes, as I tend to do, and I see there's a website that's just Grove City business and people asking questions, looking for referrals. And it says, don't bother to go to Chipotle today because they all walked out. All the employees walked out. And it made me think because Chipotle just gave everybody more raises right through the pandemic. But going to entitlement, what did you mean by entitlement, like in that issue?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I'm talking about. We had the same issue in Circleville where I think it was a Sonic. People were fed up with management, and I don't know the backstory, so I don't know what the conditions were really like. So I don't want to take anything away from those people or their ability to protest. Right? I fully believe in everybody's First Amendment right to protest if they want to exercise that right by walking off a job. Absolutely. That's
as long as they
choice.
don't exercise their Second Amendment rights to express themselves on the first.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where we cross lines, right? But the issue is that, they walked out, left the restaurant high and dry. Basically, they had to shut down. And I don't know what it is where, we were talking last week or two ago with the guy from
With Will.
Will, thank you. I couldn't remember his name. And he said, out of 26 people that I had starting new positions, 21 of them didn't show up. And I thought, wow.
On day one. And I thought, shit, I didn't realize I had a choice to not show up to work. Right.
Like it just never crossed my mind that I had an option not to do that. So that's what I mean by entitlement, where people feel entitled that they could just not do what they're supposed to do. Right. And let me clarify. When you take a job with somebody, anybody, doesn't matter who it is, you're agreeing to perform a service for a pay. If you don't perform that service, you don't get paid, which is fine. But don't agree to do it and then not show up. Like that to me is crazy that anyone would even.
But we're talking about the service industry where you don't really you just have to have basic skills like, do your hands work? Can you walk forward? Kenny, in your situation, because we talked about this, trying to find skilled laborers, it's even worse because if they do have the skill, my rate is this. Almost like they're independent contractors. Like, this is what I'm worth.
Yeah. So what we see is everybody wants top dollar just being out of school with zero experience. Just because they have a certification, they want that very top dollar. So I think, again, that's where you were saying this almost an entitlement type deal where because you have a title, they feel like they got to have 100% of it all up front.
But is that age specific? Because let's flip it around because let's just say we're all over 35 years old, right? That's fair to say. Mm-hmm. So if you looked at it, well, I'm just saying some of us are older and Ken looks 70. But when I got out of school, it was you went through, you got your college degree, and then it was like there was so much competition, whether it was people that had experience or not. To get in your field was so much harder because you didn't have experience. So you would take that lower salary or whatever it was just to get in. And now it's the complete opposite. It's like, do you know who I am? Like, you should want me. And we've talked about this a long time ago. The United States is a very me culture. You look at Instagram, and I've told you, it used to be pictures of people's kids and their food, and now it's just, I can see if a woman needs a colonoscopy because that's all that's on there. And then there's poetry that follows along with it.
Yeah.
But it's all about looking at me. And I think they go to an employer and say, you're lucky if I'll even come here.
Right. Well, and part of that is that the employment landscape has now lent to that. Look, I've talked about this before, the 80-20 rule, right? So 80% of products produced or revenue generated is done by 20% of the actual workers. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. It could be radio, it could be financial services, it could be HVAC. You know, if you look at any company, this is what it used to be, 80-20. It has shifted to 90-10, and my fear is it's going to be 95-5.
Right.
So 5% of the people are doing the actual work and making the products, producing the revenue, producing whatever it is they're supposed to produce, and the other 95% are not. And so if you're interviewing one of those 5%ers, yeah, they're going to demand a higher salary. They're going to demand more. And, you know, it's not that concerns me. That 5% makes sense. Look, I feel like I'm a very competent financial advisor. I feel like the service I provide is of top quality, and I've got numbers to back that up. And it's the other 95% I care about, or I'm worried about, because they see the 5% and they say, well, I want that, but they're not willing to work for it, right? They're not willing to earn it.
Right. Well, this leads me into the next part, because the unemployment benefits are getting cut off on September 4th, right?
I thought that already got cut off.
The major plan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like the extra.
The extra got cut off.
Yeah.
This is, you could still be on unemployment. That's going to get cut off. So now you have to look for a job. And then at the same time, the housing issue is going to come up because the forbearance goes away in October.
Yep.
So here's the mountain of sludge that's coming. The people that weren't going to work to begin with now are going to be forced to. How happy are they going to be about that, right? So now you've got people that it doesn't matter what your task is or what you're employing them for. They're unhappy because maybe for the first time in a year and a half, they have to go to work. So they're already pissed off when they're taking the job.
Right. It's going to turn into, I need a double bacon cheeseburger. It's for a cop.
Right.
It's like, is that spit?
Right. So you're going to have a lot of people upset about that. But then the moratorium on foreclosures expires. So when you get to that next level, it is people are going to have to work to try to save their house. Well, now try to get a job. I think the number is 6 million people by the end of October will lose their house. Okay. Wow. And you think that's a lot, but out of, I think there's another 4 million that would kick in November and December. So let's just say 10 million people lose their home. It is hard to get a job when you don't have a residence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But it goes back to the entitlement. They paid you money to sit at home and be safe.
Yeah.
Well, now you have to re-enter. Kenny, would you hire any of those people? Like, you might be forced to, but if you got your crew now, are you going to add a potential problem child to your staff, or are you going to try to get by on where you're at?
I would try to get by where I'm at. I mean, listen, it's just going to be a headache. So it's going to cost you more in the long run to have that headache, especially in our field, because we do a schedule. So we rely on those guys 100%. So if we put so many calls on each tech and they call off, let's say they just call off, now we got to find a tech to take those extra calls. So now we're taking all those calls and splitting them up between all the guys. Too much. I want somebody I knew for a fact that's going to be 100% bought in.
Yeah, you want a partner. You want someone who buys into your mission, what you're trying to do, and I feel the same way. Like if we're hiring new advisors, I want people who are going to row the boat the same direction we're rowing, and they have an understanding that in order to have all of the best part of working in our firm, in our partnership, then they've got to do the work to get there, right? Mm-hmm. When a lot of the problems you're going to see is going to be fast food and service industries, though. It's just because
which are criminally understaffed, right? So again,
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
are working there, you are getting crushed.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I don't complain. If you bring me, when we went to lunch a few weeks ago, it's my fault because I was speaking broken Spanish to the lady just playing around with her, and she brought me the wrong food. I didn't even complain, right? I'll eat this garbage. I don't care, whatever. I'm not the person that complains. However, I think you're going to get that attitude from those people that didn't want to be there, but they have to.
Yeah.
And again, it comes down to customer service. Listen, we know people that are in real higher level jobs that don't provide customer service.
100%.
And those are the best, right? That's the best of the barrel. And it's like, man, how are you employed? Because there's nobody better than you, right?
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to see this. I think you're going to see more. They used to call it picketing. Now it'll be, demonstrating in the streets that you're not paying us enough. I don't care if they pay you $20 an hour to make a burrito. You're still making a burrito for $20 an hour, and you're still not going to be happy about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, they're not. Look, I'm a big believer in you have a choice in what you do, right? People choose not to show up to work. Some people choose to show up. If you're going to be there, be there. Don't show up and half-ass everything. I mean, it doesn't matter. I tell my kids all the time, I said, I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care if you go to school. I don't care if you're a farmer. I don't care if you're a trash man. I don't care if you're a doctor. Whatever you do, you better work at it.
Be the best.
You be the best. You better take pride in your craft. You better be the best of what you're doing. And that's all I care about.
Absolutely.
That is missing in our society. This pride in what you do. I don't know how we fix that, man.
I think there is, again, why I appreciate what Ken does is I can ask him a question this dumb. Oh, the air conditioning unit is not working at one of these buildings. A guy calls me and blah, blah, blah. He doesn't go, I'll just replace it. He told me what was wrong without looking at it. And he wants to run tests and all that. That's a craft. That's a skill.
Yes. Yep.
Where he doesn't have to look at it, but he knows how it works. We are raising kids today to just plug and play, almost like Rahm Emanuel. My favorite thing was, you know who he is? Criminal. Used to run. No offense if he's watching. Now he's like the ambassador to Japan now.
Probably.
It's either Japan or China, another criminal thing. But his thing was, we'll just
Far
teach
East
people
Canada.
to code. Just teach everyone to code.
Yeah.
Like my dad is going to code. My dad gives me his phone and goes, how do you get pictures on here? He's not coding, right? And only so many people can code.
Yeah. We only need so many. You don't need, again, going back to the 80-20 rule, now 90-10, soon to be 95-5, we're not going to need that many people to code.
But we're teaching kids that it doesn't matter because there'll be a job for you, not where you're supposed to go. My daughter tells me the other day, she reads. Like her big thing is she wants to read as many books as she can.
Yeah.
She's reading a book in their free period, and a kid says, "What are you reading for?" And she's like, "I love to read." He goes, "I don't think I've ever read a book." She's not in the second grade; she's in high school.
Right.
And the people around her also said, "I've never read a whole book."
Yeah.
Right. That's the people that are coming out and saying, "I would like to be a financial advisor." Can you add? No, but I've got gumption. I'll show up every day. Well,
But no,
unless
you
I'm
won't.
Yeah. How many?
You'll show up
vacation
every
days?
day until it gets hard.
Right.
That's the problem.
We have not raised people to be competitive. I know the people in this room are all super competitive people, even with each other, like not in a bad way, but it's like we all want to win.
I don't want to win at
anybody-
everything, man.
Yeah. Like if perfect example is our Wednesday group. How many leads can I give you? So it's not business for me. I want to trounce you.
Yeah.
And I love you guys like a brother, but I don't care. I want to win.
Right.
You know what you get? A $4 trophy that at the end of the month you have to give back to the next person that wins it, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why it's in my bag, son of a bitch. But we're
And it's worth it, right?
right. But again,
It's a
it's
pride.
not
Again,
the
it's-
trophy. It is
It's the pride.
correct.
It is the pride. So I was at an event on Saturday, and look, I'm pretty good at cornhole. I'm not bad at it. And
I read that in a bathroom stall that you're great at it.
Call for a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So me and my partner, I asked him ahead of time, like, how good are you at cornhole? Because I'm not going out there to get beat. And he's like, I'm pretty good. And I'm like, all right, we got this. We actually got to the semifinal. And he just started throwing like dog shit. I mean, it was just like out of the blue. Like he was like spraying them everywhere, man, like shotgun. It was like, dude, what is going on with you? We were down 10-0 and we're only playing at 11 because we needed these games to actually end at some point. And we ended up coming back and we lost 10-11. And it's still, this is Wednesday, this was Saturday, it still pisses me off.
I'd never talk to that guy again. I seriously would probably break in his house and beat up his kids. Like, I don't want to lose at anything.
Right? But that's what I mean is like, it still eats at me like, man, we should have won that game. That's bullshit.
I think that, again, it goes back to the culture. The culture has really shifted to almost like everybody's a brand.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from what you see on television, right? So
100%.
For the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, all I'm hearing about is Kanye's new album.
Dude, you can thank Real Words for that. I mean, that, you know, the whole MTV.
Well, let's just say television in general.
Yeah, television in general. You're right. It's created this culture of everything is about me and I need to show the world who I am. Nobody gives a shit who you are.
Right.
What do you do?
I think we've created this inflated ego to hide the fact that people are massively insecure.
Oh,
Absolutely.
100%, man.
You know, one of the things that I see whenever you're talking to people in the trade, they're always still asking questions. If they're worth a damn, they're always asking questions.
Yeah.
Like in my business, it's all media driven. I don't know everything. What stuns me is I have to listen. I have to call Nate and ask him how to get a PDF off of email. I know how to do all the technical stuff, and I can't do that. But when I am asking somebody else how something works, we don't know. We just send it to some other company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hey, it's not my problem.
it's my favorite quote. Listen, if anybody sees me on the street and says, "Hey, it's not my problem," no, I'm going to slap the tits off you because it is your problem. But that goes to customer service. If I call and go, "Look, we might have a slight issue," and you just go, I am going to choke you because it's not my thing. It's not my money. It is our goal should be, what is it that you're supposed to, if you get to the top of the ladder, you're supposed to reach back and bring somebody else.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel there's a lot of people that have a lot of ladders that just want to get to the top and don't bring anybody with them. That's not the goal of what this is supposed to be.
No, I tell my son Byron, he's in second grade, and every morning before I give him a hug and kiss, I said, "Hey, go be a helper at school. Go help somebody. Go do something to make somebody's life better." I don't tell him go be the smartest kid. I don't tell him go be the best at gym. I don't tell him go be the fastest, be the best baseball player. I tell him go help somebody because we don't have that in our society, or what we have is very little, and it's getting just absolutely trampled and squashed by everything else that's out there. All of this noise, the Instagram, Facebook, all this other bullshit is just pushing down the things that really matter. And, life's too short to focus on that kind of crap. Customer service sucks everywhere.
Well, let's do this because I feel like we're kind of just being negative. And again,
but that's pretty in line.
I think you have to talk about the negative part to get to what the positive is. Is there a positive? Are we going to see anything? I think we're not going to. There are lessons that should have been learned that are going to get ignored, and it will all be blamed on the pandemic. If that was going to reset things, I think what it's done is it showed you don't necessarily have to do that job. Or there are more kids in California. I think it's double the number of how many are going to be homeschooled. I can tell you if I had to homeschool my daughter, she is going to learn what the 1985 Bears defense looked like, and that's about it. I'm not qualified to do that. Now, while she can go and learn Russian propaganda in school, at least there's books there. Right. So I got to have a trade-off. But I just don't see how we can reach back. You almost have to take care of your own children instead of a tribe, but that tribe mentality of not wanting to be aggressive anymore, it's still going to drag everybody down.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily not being aggressive. Here, my thought is that if you take care of your family, once that's taken care of, take care of your community. And the reality is as everything I do with my business, I try to initially it's all about helping my clients and doing what's right for them. And at the end of the day, if I do that, I know everything else will be taken care of. And so if I can do that, the next step then is okay, how can I leverage this to help out the next
Right.
ring, if you will, of influence, right?
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of, like, you're in the same situation, is that your goal with your business is to grow it so that you can have an impact outside of your own family, right? I think you're going to see more of that. There's one thing I do think the pandemic has done, and that has created a sense of urgency in people, because now we realize that, hey, we're not going to live forever. And it's unfortunate that this is how it happened, but I do believe that there is a renewed sense of mortality in people. And my hope is, like I always say, hope's not a strategy, but my hope is that people use that for good and for the better, to have a better impact. And even if someone's watching this and they, a high school student or a younger person, or I don't care if they're an older person, working at a fast food restaurant, be proud of what you do.
Absolutely.
Right? Be proud of your craft. I worked at White Castle when I was in high school and college. Loved that job. Loved working for people, loved helping people, loved serving people. It was a great environment to work in. And I worked at White Castle because they paid me more than anybody else would pay me when I was that age, right? But I went in there with pride. I did my job, and I tried to do it well. That's just how I was raised. I mean, I know you were the same way. I know you're the same way. Nate's a little questionable
About a lot of things.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I think if we just need people to get back to being parents, raising their kids right, and caring about what's happening at home and around their community.
That's where it starts out.
Oh, absolutely.
starts out.
Starts
It
at
all
home.
starts with
I
that.
mean, I think a lot of parents just kind of just went with the flow. It's easier to throw a phone at a kid so that they don't
100%,
have to
yeah.
deal with them, or go flip the TV on because, they got their own thing going on. And I think that's where it really starts, is at the home. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Be positive for your kids. If you want your kids to be positive in life, because positive brings nothing but good.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of negative, it's always going to be negative. I tell my guys that every day. They come in. If you're going to be negative or have a negative attitude, take your ass home.
Great.
Well, I mean, there's
Because-
there's a psychological phenomenon called expectancy theory. That which you focus on expands. So if all you're
Absolutely.
doing is looking at negative stuff, your life's going to be pretty shitty.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
But it also goes back to television, right? So if we're looking at that, I think people are just unhappy in general, which is a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But if I can kill my time before I have to go back to work with something, it's better than focusing, right? So we don't focus to get better. So if you look at any of those, I don't mean 1%ers in terms of how much money they make. If you look at those 1% people like the Tony Robbins of the world and all that,
Sure.
they couldn't care to turn on television. Not that it's the root of all evil, but they're spending time getting better, getting in shape, reading books, taking classes, whatever it is. I mean, like watching things to learn something. There's no attention to that because we don't promote it. It's easier to just play World of Warcraft for 6 hours and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Shout out to World of Warcraft, by the way.
Sponsored by
Sponsored by-
EA.
Children Being Dumber, brought to you by Xbox. Before we get out of here today, Ken, leave me an example. If you had 30 seconds to tell somebody, who's the ideal person that you'd put in your business?
Well, again, I would say that somebody that's positive, got a huge drive, and want to make something better of themselves, be better than what they have around them. I think I would be most definitely the person I would look for.
Johnny Cash?
Same thing. We desperately need business partners. Edward Jones has over 20,000 advisors now, and we need more. We need 10,000 more. I mean, there's so many people that need help when it comes to financial literacy and things like that we can't do everything we need to do. So we need business partners, people who are not afraid to get their hands dirty, who want to actually go to work, who want to make a difference in someone's lives, and has an understanding that when you join the firm, that you're a partner, you're not an employee, and you're going to be held accountable to what you do, which you should in any job. I don't care what it is. But you got to be proud. You got to be proud. You got to be proud, and you got to be prideful of your work ethic. That's the biggest thing. Is I can't care more about someone else's business than they do. Right.
Right.
I can't care more about someone's money than that person does. And so people who have motivation, where you find them, I don't know. What do you think, Ken?
They're far from. Trust me, we struggle.
I think every industry does. I mean, it's not just. I mean, I know it's exacerbated in the trades, but our industry, we also don't have enough women or people of color. Is not everybody wants to do business with someone that looks like me, right? I think in the industry standard is like 7 or 8% of advisors are women, and less than that are people of color. It's crazy. And so, I encourage, if there's somebody out there who is, in college looking at this industry, if you're a minority or you're a woman, absolutely think about it. And because there's people out there that look like you that need your help, that aren't getting it. Because I live in Asheville, which is in the middle of a cornfield, and it's 95%, white. So, that's the biggest challenge in our field is getting diversity to help reach other families that we wouldn't normally reach.
Those are both good answers. Mine was going to be a Columbus 8, a Tampa 5. That's going to be Broad Street Radio for this week. We'll see you next week.